Okay, now we're going to go on to Notesheet 2. So make sure you have Notesheet 2 out. I don't disagree with you, some of you, that unfortunately I actually asked the teacher who made these to make them a little bit more challenging because you guys are ready for that. But he didn't necessarily agree with me. So in light of that, I am not going to work through every single one of these problems. I really, truly believe you guys are doing a great job and have no need to go through all of these. So we're going to kind of skip around a little bit. You saw in the practice the idea of listing 3 solution sets, so I know you're comfortable with that. The one I do want to look at is number 6. Apparently, these multiples of 3 seem to be the ones we're going to be looking at together a lot. All right, looking at number 6, this has caused some of you some trouble. I don't want it to cause you trouble. You know how to do this, and I don't want you to get thrown off by fractions. When we look at this problem, I need you to recognize that it says fraction, which is just a number, times x. How do we undo multiplication? Hopefully you're thinking to yourself division. So we don't do anything different. We divide by 3/5. Okay, I need to do that on the other side, obviously, as well. When I do that, the fractions are eliminated. I'm left with just x, and it's, in this case, less than or equal to. And that division needs to be done on my calculator. When I do the division on my calculator, I'm going to type in -15 divided by. Now, you like to use your fraction, alpha y equals, so that's fine. But what you're going to need to do is, I find that this is still necessary even with this key, is that it has to be put in parentheses. So we're going to go ahead and get out of that for a moment, and we're going to put a parenthesis before we put this fraction in. When you divide by a fraction, those parentheses are absolutely necessary. So we're going to put alpha y equals, and we're going to put in our fraction 3/5. Okay, so we're going to divide by this fraction 3/5, and we get the solution of -25. Okay, we're dividing by something less than 1. If we want to know how many parts are, or how many parts of size less than 1 are in 15, it should be more than 15, because there's 15 parts that are size 1. And so if my size is smaller than that, I should be able to have more parts. So my value should come out to be greater than, or a bigger number, ignoring the sign in this case, than 15. So we get our solution of x is less than or equal to -25. We're going to graph this one. So again, we're just going to put 0. I guess I should make sure my 0 is in the right location because I'm graphing a negative number. I want my 0 on the right so that I have room on the left to put my -25. I want less than or equal to, so I'm going to put a closed circle, and then I'm going to shade to the left. Okay, now the question that follows that, 6a, goes with problem 6. It asks, is 0 a solution? I can answer this question in multiple ways. I can put it back into the original problem, do 3/5 times 0, which is 0, and ask myself, is 0 less than or equal to -15? No, 0 is bigger than a negative number. Or I can look at my graph and see 0 is over here on the right. It is a bigger value than -25, so no, it is not a solution. It's not in the shaded area. Okay? All right, we're going to go ahead and skip down then to number 9. Seems to be our pattern lately. For number 9, we see a large fraction. When I see a large fraction, we want to take care of that fraction, eliminate that fraction right away. A fraction means division, so we undo division by multiplication. So divided by 9, to get rid of that big fraction, I'm going to multiply both sides by 9. Okay, doing that multiplication, on the left side I get 45. Keep my symbol just as it is. On the right side, the 9 divided by 9 is eliminated by the multiplying by 9, and I'm left with a 2y plus 3. Continuing to solve to get y alone, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. On the left, that is the left, I get 42. On the right, I'm left with just a 2y. And so that I can actually work neatly, I'm going to go ahead and recopy this right up here. So I have 42 is greater than or equal to 2y. As I finish working through that, I'm going to go ahead and get y alone, so I'm going to divide by 2. And I get 21 is greater than or equal to y. Be careful again with these problems when the variable is on the right. We do not leave the variable on the right. It's not very clear as to what's being given as this final solution. So we're going to rewrite the y on the left and the 21 on the right. As we rewrite, we have to pay attention to the way the sign is. Notice that it's eating the 21. So I need to keep that concept of eating the 21 in my final solution. And so I get y is less than or equal to 21. Graphing that again, 21 is a positive number, so it's going to go to the right of the 0. Less than or equal to means a closed circle. And going to the left. Okay? I think that should be a good enough review of our basic. I want to go ahead and move on to our focus. So that moves us to the back of our sheet. Our focus begins with some key and hint words. Words that we often use in mathematical statements that help us to understand that we have an inequality represented. So we have this list above that you can look at and refer to as you work through your translations. Keep this handy so that when you work on the next worksheet, the Practice 2 worksheet, that you can refer to this. We're going to ask you to translate and then not just translate but also continue on and solve. So the first problem says we're going to go ahead and eliminate that word, the. 12 less than the quotient of x and 5 is at least 10. Okay, we read it again. 12 less than the quotient. What does quotient mean? Well, hopefully at this point we're pretty comfortable with that word. We know quotient means division. And the question is, what are we dividing? The quotient of x and 5 is at least, that's one of our words above. Let's circle it. Is at least. As we kind of think through, let's think through what it means and then we'll see if we can find it on the list. At least. It means I'm thinking about values that are, well, 10. 10's at least 10. Or bigger than 10. At least 10 means you're looking for things that are bigger than 10. That shows up on our greater than or equal to list. At least is greater than or equal to, because 10 would be at least 10 as well as anything larger. So now translating. Remember, this is a key thing to be careful about. This less than here does not have the word is. There's no is here. So this less than is not indicating an inequality. It's indicating a subtraction. And to be 12 less than something, you actually are subtracting 12 from something. So that's going to go at the end. What we actually need to put first is the quotient of x and 5. So we're going to write quotient as a fraction. As we've talked about many times in algebra, we don't write the division symbol in our equations. We put fractions for division. And then we want to subtract 12 from it because we have 12 less than that. Is at least greater than or equal to 10. Okay, we're going to work through now and solve this. So the first step I would do to solve this is add 12 to both sides. And I'm left with x over 5 is greater than or equal to 22. Okay, now over means divided, so I'm going to undo division by multiplication. We're going to multiply both sides by 5. That eliminates my division. And I'm left with x on that left side. Symbol stays the same, greater than or equal to. And multiplying 22 times 5 gives me 110. So this is my solution. The graph is a visual representation of that same solution. 110 is positive, so it's on the right side of 0. We have greater than or equal to, so I'm going to put a closed circle, and I'm going to graph shading to the right. Okay, what I'd like you to do is try and actually do the translation yourself for number 11. So go ahead and hit pause for the moment. Try and read through number 11 and translate. That's it, just translate. Then we'll work through solving together once you've checked to see if your translation's correct. Don't start solving until you're sure it's correct. So pause now. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully, as you translated it, you recognize that twice means times 2. Sum is plus. Sorry, that's an arrow. Sum is plus. And so what we're finding the sum of is a number in 3. And is no more than, there's our key words. That word is really indicates that you have either an equals or an inequality. Is used often by itself means equals, but if it has is something, we're going to have an inequality with it. So translating this inequality, we have 2 times the sum. We need to show parentheses because I'm multiplying a sum by 2. And so we have x and 3 being added together is no more than. Okay, that means not more than, means less than. But to be not more than 18, you can be 18 or anything smaller. So we're going to put less than or equal to 18. Okay, we'll work through and solve this now. We're going to distribute, so 2x plus 6 is less than or equal to 18. We're going to subtract 6 from both sides. We're going to divide by 2. That allows us to have our x alone. Keep our symbol, don't change anything along the way. We get x is less than 6. Okay, again, that's our solution along with a graph if it's asked for. Okay, we're looking to graph this, so 6 is positive, it's to the right of 0. We want less than or equal to, so we close in that circle, and less than goes to the left. Okay, let's try that again. Again, pause the video right now, do your translation. Once you've translated, start the video back up and see if your translation is correct before you continue on to solve. Okay, welcome back. Here again we have the idea of multiplication. 3 times, we know that one. The difference, remember difference is subtraction. So I'm multiplying a difference, so that tells me I'm going to have a parentheses. And is at most 12. Well, 12's at most 12. And things that are smaller, like 5, would be at most 12. Okay? So we translate this inequality to 3 times the difference, we need a parentheses, of x minus 4 is at most less than or equal to, and then 12. Solving is similar, so you can go ahead and do the solving on your own. I'm going to go ahead and work it out here so you can see it, but I'll stop talking so you can work. Okay, once you've done that, check your answer here. And then I'm going to stop for a minute and we'll stop this video, and your next video will work you through the extension.